the weird effects that people have seen, like this so-called, this canola plant, it's kind of bending. Now, this has been seen in and around man-made ones too. We made our own where we later went back and found that it had bending. So, to me, that's not a litmus test anymore of authenticity, because you do get that bending just in the field in general. Even that other one we just saw was found in the regular field. So you do find this bending. It's not just crossing the field. I think if you go out in the field and really get down on the ground, you know, like when we were kids, when we get down with the earthworms and soil, you're going to find things that no one ever saw before. Because as adults, we're so focused on certain criteria, and that's all we see. I think if we went out in the fields and studied these, we would find new things that no one ever knew about before, just going out there. And some of them are these bends, which I don't know exactly what causes it, but I don't think these are caused by microwave heating, because they happen after the circles, and this is an example of one that we did. So the magically bent stalks, the magical bend, and the swollen nodes are also found in mandibles. Now, I mentioned before the idea about the bloom being disturbed in the plant. What we found is that the bloom grows back every night. It grows back in the hours of 4 to 6 a.m. So after the circle makers leave, the bloom grows back. You could go to a circle at 7 or 8 and the bloom looks good again. It's because it grows all the time. It's because we adopt these assumptions. You know, we can become very rigid as researchers too. And kind of, I can say this honestly, I used to be in the camp that didn't believe humans could do this at all. And I would get up on stage, you might have seen me in the 90s saying, it's the opposite, that people can't do this, and here's why. The architects said it would take them 5 days in the daytime to do this, and bloom, and bending. And I defend that point of view, but these circle makers, were kind enough to show me that they could do this, and I had to realize, it's a little dangerous to become too extreme in any direction, because then you start defending yourself, and you're not open to the evidence anymore. You need to be open to the evidence. The evidence, you find these anomalies in man-made circles too. So we can't just say because they're anomalies there, it's authentic. These crop circles create energy, but it's not because the energy created the circle to begin with. It's because after they're there, stuff begins to happen. And that could happen for a variety of reasons. Now, the idea that humans can't create complex mathematics. We know from Islamic world patterns, geary tiles from Turkey and other places from hundreds of years ago. It was just like crop circles, and that was created without any formal mathematics. This is artists that did this. And if they could do it then, probably some part of the population can do this now just for fun, and they didn't. So we know the geary tiles are tessellated crop circle looking like patterns that were made hundreds of years ago by people with no specific mathematic training. They just sat down and figured out how to do this because they were court artisans or something, and that was their job. And so people can create this math without a lot of training. It's not that humans can't do this. Humans can do this. We can't use that argument. We can do a lot that we don't think we can do. And making complex mathematical shapes is one of them. And there was also this type of mathematics in Japan that farmers and merchants used that had no formal training, but they could calculate distances through trigonometry and calculate field sizes just with kind of on the back of their hand. So there's different examples where you get people being able to do math without formal training. And they did it. Now here's what we did in Kansas. Ron Hein and a few other folks. And it just had, not only did it create large sets, it took about 10 minutes to make. It's a small circle. We had permission to make a little one we did. And it just created very good effects on the camera that had never happened before. This is Ron's expensive Nikon F3 camera. And we heard the results. I don't know what this is, but that's strange looking. This is the type of things you see in and around crop circles. Why? Well, there's some energy there. You could always say, well, the camera malfunctioned. Well, why did it malfunction in the camera and never anywhere else in thousands of shots that Ron's taken with this light? Expensive professional light.
So that happens with man-made and...
Exactly. Here's what we made. Look at that. Oh, what is that? Is that a plasma energy there? If the camera saw something we didn't. I can tell you standing there, a thunderstorm was coming in. We could see lightning out there. But it wasn't here yet. Now, static had been building up. There's other possibilities, but it happened here in the crowd. And I talked to a lot of farmers, and I actually asked them, do you find your battery-operated devices not work in the field? I've never heard one say yes. I've never heard a single farmer tell me they find electrical anomalies out in the field. This doesn't seem to happen in regular planet fields. It seems to happen when we get a circular spiral pattern. So back to your point, Alejandro, I think this is the type of advanced technology that we're picking up just informally. This is how it starts. with science starts with anomalies, and this is anomalous. Why it actually happens, we'll look in a second, but
so in your opening remark about shape and resonance, isn't that cymatics?
Right, cymatics is how shapes create frequency and vibration, or how vibration creates shapes. We've all seen the videos from Hans Jenny where you project sound into a metal plate and the sand begins to form crossover-looking shapes. Other researchers have talked about that maybe sound is creating the circles because it looks like that. I haven't seen evidence that's true. It could be happening. I haven't seen the evidence for it, but yeah, there's something about shape that creates energy, and cymatics shows that, and that's why it creates it. Now, one possibility is that it's like a liquid crystal, just like in our flat screen displays. That you have these little pixels, and when you move them, they create energy. Maybe when moving all those stalks of wheat around, it creates a piezoelectric that creates energy, creates a little circuit. Liquid crystals, the way that when you form a lot of different grains, as they're called, into shapes, they create patterns and create colors and so forth. It seems that one of the technologies we're dealing with is they look a lot like crops. You have a field that is planted in a certain way, then you have this kind of anisotropy coming in, just like in liquid crystals. It's possible that this is happening in liquid crystal. In other words, the wheat, even though it seems solid, when you move it around, it's like a liquid. And it's in patterns, and just like liquid crystals have electrical properties, magnetic properties, and all sorts of stuff, that the field has the same properties too. When you look at the similarities, there's a lot of similarities between liquid crystals and the way that crop circle shapes look. And we're just basically talking about alignment, coherency, and alignment. When you have enough coherency and alignment, you get these emergent, self-organizing properties. I call this a process of densification. Basically, when you have the stalks standing there just by themselves, they're just kind of like a random or uniform distribution. But when you shape them around, anybody, whether it's a UFO or a person, that shapes it around into a shape, it has a new density, it has a new pattern, and what science tells us is the new properties can emerge from that. It's like a whole different domain of attraction. It's a whole different state of matter once it's in that shape. And that could be a big part of what's going on. These layering effects that we've seen in crop circles, multiple layers. Now we've created that too. We know that humans can make that layering effect. It seems to be a big part of liquid crystals. This is not field. This is just liquid crystals, but close up it looks just like a field of wheat, doesn't it? So there could be a similarity there between what scientists figured out about microscopic matter and kind of what's called metamaterials. So regular materials, man-made materials with special properties, or natural materials that once you shape them have kind of extra special magnetic and electrical properties you don't find in the original material. To me, that feels what crop circles are about. Kind of a form of self-organization where it's been organized by whatever and it has new properties. Emergent type of matter. So that's one possibility. These liquid crystals are, again, this is not wheat, this is liquid crystals, but you can't really tell the difference if you don't know the scale. So I see these crop circles as an advanced technology, just like light bulbs were someone's advanced technology 100 years ago, or a little more than. And everything around us was at one point, experimental on someone's lab, or someone just, a lot of the stuff that we have is just discovered by accident. It wasn't discovered by anyone sitting down and trying to do it. This is sort of the same process. And we're in the process of scientific discovery right now. We're opening our minds to new prospects. We all like to think that we're kind of the end state of evolution, right? That this is the best that I think we all like to believe this. Somehow this is the highest point of history. But we're part of evolution too. And it's not ending with us, it just continues. And I bet in 100 years this crop circle technology will be used for healing or communications or other properties that we don't understand yet. Something about the shape, the resonance in natural materials creates, if you tune it right, maybe you could charge batteries instead of discharging them. It's one possibility. And maybe that's what the ETs were trying to show us. I think they want us to do it ourselves. I don't think they want to do it for us, but it's just my theory. There's magnetic effects with the crystals. There's all sorts of possibilities. Spin helicity. Now, one of the things that colonizers found is that there was this magnetic patterns in one of these crop circles, which I'll show you a little later on during the question session. We know that if you create coherency in the electron spin in material across a large scale, kind of spiraling spin pattern. Spin is kind of the way that the electrons, their characteristics is they spin around in the orbit of an atom. The spin characteristics can generate magnetism. So maybe there's something about the alignment of the stalks of wheat that affects the spin helicity. This is just a possibility.